Hello everyone and welcome to Long's Toys. I have another Transformers Titans Return review for you today. This is Deluxe Class Autobot Tesla and Brainstorm. I still have not seen this guy in a store. I actually had a friend pick this up for me, so huge shout out to my friend Matt for securing this for me. Brainstorm has always been one of my favorites since I was a kid as far as the Headmasters go. So when I heard this guy was a Walgreens exclusive, I was a little nervous about finding him because, I don't know, in my area, I don't have a lot of luck with Walgreens exclusives, but here he is. So again, huge thank you to my friend Matt, and I'm super glad to finally get a hold of this guy because he looks really good. Now, I believe in the original, his Headmaster partner was called Arcana, but for some reason they decided to go with Tesla. I don't know if they just lost the rights to the other name, or it's too close to a brand name or something, I'm not sure. But either way, the paint job looks really nice on him. Turn around to the back, you can see here, you have Robot Mode, Alt Mode, a little Headmaster / Titan Master over here. I will try to zoom in so you can read the little bio. It says, Autobots unite with Titan Master partners to power up for battle. That's always the first sentence. Autobot Tesla increases the genius of Brainstorm, making his brilliant inventions even more advanced. So, huge brain trust with these two guys. It's the brain superpowers going off here. But really like this packaging. The paint and everything looks great. I'm not sure if the Titan Master will actually be colored like this. Sometimes on the packaging they look better than the actual toy. But if it does actually look like that, it should be pretty good. Looking at the back here, you can see Titan Master class, you can see Deluxe class, Alpha Trion representing the Voyagers, and then they decided to go with a Wave 1 with Autobot Blaster instead of Soundwave down here. Kind of a weird thing. Don't know if that's just a random package misprint or they just, you know, whatever. But I believe Soundwave is the only leader in Wave 2. Whereas for Voyagers, you have Alpha Trion or Astrotrain. So anyway, that's it for packaging here. Pretty nice. I really like the artwork in the back here. But we'll go ahead, we'll pop Brainstorm out of the packaging, and we'll take a closer look. So taking a look at Brainstorm out of the packaging here, I gotta say right off the bat, this figure is fantastic. He comes with these accessories, so here is his card, which we'll take a quick look at. Again, really nice artwork, same artwork from the front of the card. But really nice there, I like that a lot. Flipping it over, you can see Brainstorm, and then combined with Tesla. His brain power was already his strongest, and then when you add Tesla, he's just crushing it. Next highest is speed, and then strength, and then he's kind of lowest on firepower, which is kind of funny because he kind of has 3 guns, but we'll take a look at that in a minute. But nice card, nice solid cardboard there, or card stock, whatever it's made out of. Nice to collect. Taking a look at his accessories, very simple little green gun right here, and then he has these kind of 2 cannons here, which play up more in vehicle mode, but he can also have them in robot mode, which we'll take a look at in a second. As most people probably already know or just figured out by looking at him or his accessories, he's a heavy retool / repaint of the Blur mold, but as good as a toy as Blur was, this guy is like that mold perfected, just because, I mean, one, I kind of like the color scheme of Brainstorm better than Blur because they kind of went with that kind of weird darker turquoise. And also just, he's one of the main 4 Autobot Headmasters, so it's just, I love everything about this. As you can see, he's got this kind of greenish teal color in the center and also here in his hands. Otherwise, he's got a mixture of kind of light and darker gray. Nice here on the back. Now, this big piece here, obviously, you can peg it on here onto his back if you like, just like with Blur. Now, with his, it's a little bit longer than Blur, so it kind of gets in the way, so I kind of don't like to leave it pegged on like that. But you can see there's a peg hole here, and there's a peg here, so you can go ahead and he can wear it kind of like as a shield. And I kind of like this, because if anyone who's a fan of Gundam, really reminds me of like Wing or Wing Zero, having this kind of shield that's the kind of the front of a jet mode with guns. And then, you know, it's kind of a dual-purpose shield, and it can also fire. So I like that a lot. This is the same tiny gun from Blur. Obviously, he can hold that in his other hand. Or if you want, you can take this off, and just like with Blur, there's a peg hole here, and then you can pop that like that. So if you wanted, you could, or actually I guess you can't because that takes up. I was thinking you could have all three on his arm, but that covers up the peg hole that pegs in there. I mean, you could use one of these and peg it in on the side like this. Doesn't look as good in my opinion, but it can be done. You can also take this off and put this peg in his hand if you want him to hold it like a really massive barreled gun. It will fit. There we go. So you can have him hold it like that. So I think it's funny that his card said he doesn't have a lot of firepower because, in my opinion, he's got a decent amount of firepower. But I'm going to put these accessories off to the side for now. I like that there's a lot of options with those. So putting him off to the side, we'll take a look at posability here. Pretty much the same as Blur, if you remember that mold. The head, of course, is on a ball joint. For the shoulder, you have up and down as well as front to back. You have a bicep swivel. You have pretty much 90 degrees at the elbow. The wrists can actually rotate. They can move around. He does have a waist swivel, like that. Ball joint in the hip. Then you have a thigh swivel right underneath that. Then you have pretty much a little bit over, actually, 90 degrees in the knee. And then for the foot, just because of the transformation, it can fold up, but I don't really know what instance you would use that in. So it's there, but, you know, it is what it is. The other cool thing is I like the big wings up here. Now, they come in the package kind of swept back a little, so they don't seem as big. If you want to leave them completely flat out, you can. You could even have them forward if you like. It's all personal preference. I personally do kind of like one back or one click back because it kind of makes them a little swept back and they don't stick out as much. So I really like the look of that. But overall, I mean, they look like stickers. These are paint apps. Same with up here. I'm pretty sure they're paint. They kind of look like stickers, but I'm pretty sure they're paint. It's just really nice. There's a little Autobot symbol in there. Taking off the Titan / Headmaster, we'll get a closer look at this. Really nice job, I have to say. It's hard to see, but his eyes are painted blue inside there. And I could try to get closer, but they're just very recessed, so it's kind of hard to see it. But the front here with the orange for the face mask looks great. Really fantastic there. And then when you transform him, just a really perfect job of having, you know, a green legs and arms and an inside painted gray. And then you can see the head is turquoise as well, but they painted the face. I mean, I have to say, this guy's probably one of the best colored and painted Titan Masters, in my opinion. Closest to like a G1 Headmaster, because the G1 Headmaster's always had the middle kind of gray, the arms and legs would be the same color, and then if you're lucky, you had some paint on the head. So this guy's fantastic. I think he's definitely one of the best painted and colored Titan Masters that we've got. Of course, he can sit in here, just like with Blur, and you can give him this gun for a turret. Although, I mean, you could even just leave it out because he has these two turrets. So, I appreciate that. I love how all the little Titan Masters can hang out in the weapons like that. Little base or turrets, things like that. So, I love that playability and functionality there. But yeah, this guy, like, as far as articulation and paint goes, he looks fantastic. He's easily one of my favorites so far from the line. But let's go ahead and get into his transformation. So again, he is remade from the Blur mold. So if you know how to transform that, there's really not any surprises here. You can start by just folding up his feet, and they just kind of fit flush against there. You can also bring these pieces around, and they just rotate around and cover the fists. Very simple like that. At this point, I think probably the next best thing to do is I like to pop out the arms. Get them a little bit out of the way, just like that. You can bring this piece around and peg it back on, because you're going to need to do that for the transformation. You can pop up this piece, which is going to be the canopy. And then this will come around, and you can see these two pegs will peg in right there, just like on Blur. So there you go. You can fold the seat up, and that's going to create the Titan Master cockpit. You're going to open the legs right there and right there. And on this one, you have to fold out the little fin, just like that. And then all you do is rotate these 180, and then they will sit there and peg together very simply. And like I said, it's almost exactly the same as Blur's transformation. So if you've done that figure before, you know what's going on. Close these back up. This is not, there we go. I was trying to say, make sure it's all shored up and clicked together. And then at that point, you're just going to bring these down, and they're going to fold back. And there's a big gray tab right there, and there's a tab hole. Let me get closer. Right there where my thumb is. So you're just going to push it back, tab in, push it back, tab in, just kind of bring it all in, really short up, and then you can fold these down just like that. And then there you go. You have Brainstorm in his vehicle mode. I was going to say ship, or it's kind of a futuristic jet, I guess, but it also kind of rolls, so not 100% there. Go ahead and pop your Titan Master in, close up your canopy, and this thing looks fantastic. I absolutely love it. The only thing I could possibly think to nitpick it, the one fin, the original had two, like this, kind of like, you know, like a Batwing or Batmobile or something like that. I completely understand because you're remolding the Blur mold, that's not possible. You can only do one in the middle. I understand that. I'm okay with it. Like I said, it's a small nitpick if you're just going by, you know, trying to look exactly like the original G1. So I completely understand why it had to happen that way. You can put this again on the bottom, just like when you were playing with it as a turret. If you would like, you can also take it off and peg it into the side here. So again, you have a lot of options with firepower. I like that a lot. So I absolutely love this vehicle mode. Like I said, the only thing I could possibly nitpick is the number of fins, but I don't think that's a reason to complain about it. This thing is fantastic. I love this guy. He's fantastic. I think he's easily my favorite of the deluxes we've gotten so far. And he's a remold of a deluxe we've gotten so far, and he's still my favorite. I know when it was first announced that he was a Walgreens exclusive, I was a little nervous about finding him, and he is a little bit hard to find, I think, for some people. But I would definitely say get out there, try to find him. I think being a Walgreens exclusive and being at a slightly higher price point, because really Walgreens sells these for closer to like 18 to 20 instead of 15, but I think that allowed them to pour a little bit more love into this guy because the paint apps are really nice and they're really crisp. They look great. The Titan Master detailing and color is some of the best we've seen so far. So I think being a couple dollars more gave them a little bit more license to add some more paint apps and, like I said, put a little bit more love into this guy because he came out fantastic. I know we got a Voyager sized Brainstorm Headmaster toy in the Generations line a year or so ago, and I think that was kind of a trial run for Titan's Returns in general. But even if you have that Voyager, I would still recommend grabbing this because it's so much better. Not to mention, this guy's going to be in scale with the rest of the four major Headmasters, Chrome Dome, Highbrow, and Hardhead, and you're going to want all four of them to be in scale. Plus, this is just a better toy. The Voyager had some issues. I mean, mine came with like two left hips, so one of them didn't sit flush because it was assembled wrong, and the Headmaster that came with that toy was strangely proportioned and had a tendency to break off in the head joint and people couldn't get it unhooked properly. So that toy's all right, but I definitely think this is a much better representation of Brainstorm, even being a Blur remold. You don't notice it so much. If you had never had the Blur toy, I really don't think you would see this and say, oh, that's Blur. But by having it, you know it is a remold of that toy, but it doesn't suffer in any way. The only thing you could possibly complain about is the one fin in vehicle mode versus the two that the original G1 toy had, but it's certainly nothing worth nitpicking enough to not get this toy. Fantastic colors, fantastic paint, articulation is great, detail's great. It's just a great toy. If you can find him, pick him up. He's fantastic. I'm just gushing at this point, but I definitely recommend it. So please let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Would love to hear your opinion, see if you agree with me. Please like and share this video, and please subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you've enjoyed this look at Deluxe Class Brainstorm from the Transformers Titans Return line, and thank you guys so much for watching.